Hello, and welcome to Controversial Data Topics podcast, where we educate about critical issues in our community, government, and workplaces. We connect with and encourage our listeners and uncover hidden agendas, motives, and truths about data and technology that have crippled society for more than 3 decades. I am your host, Dr. Holly K. Neal, also known as the Data Boss Lady. Welcome. In our last episode, we talked about how the supply chain and operations for a company are data driven, which impact you as a consumer. Now, if you did not tune in, I encourage you to listen to that episode first before jumping into this one because it's all connected. In episode 3, we will focus on the elephant in the room. Our topic for today's podcast: information technology, friend or foe? That is the question. Today, I want to evaluate the good and the bad related to information technology, specifically devices such as laptops, tablets, computers, and mobile phones, even smart devices and software programs or systems. And give you insight to help you distinguish between good versus bad interactions humans have with various technologies. Apply these insights from today's podcast, and you will gain knowledge about an industry giant that will awaken and stimulate your mind and cause you to speak more intelligently about information technology. First, I want you to consider the role of a friend. Then think about how that person or pet, because let's face it, many of us consider our pets our babies as well as our friends. But consider how that person or pet made you feel over time. Then I will disclose how humans tend to relate to technology in a more generalized form. We will repeat the same to identify characteristics of a foe. Additionally, I will cover how certain interactions or associations often held about technology create barriers from seeing clearly if information technology is a friend or foe. Only then can we begin or attempt to answer the question and conclude whether we as humans have a good grasp on our role when we operate technology. We will hit the tip of that iceberg in just a few minutes. But before we do that, let's kick things off with a few questions you should ponder. First, I want you to answer these. What role do you play in close friendships? Second question, how do you conclude a person can be categorized as a friend to you? Third question, how many friendships have you retained from childhood? And then the fourth question, can you count them on one hand? So ponder that just for a moment. Now, think about environments where you encountered people who envied, hated, or despised your presence. And don't try to act brand new. You know if somebody could not stand your guts, or they every time they walked in a room, they rolled their eyes, or they walked around the long way just to avoid you. So let's just keep it real. The first thing I want you to think about is, how did those people side with evil forces to make life difficult for you? Secondly, how quickly were you able to make the connection about their ill intentions? Did it take you a while, or were you like, oh, well, they just acting funny right now. Basically you're in denial at that moment. But what were you thinking? Then the third thing is, did the interaction occur in the workplace where cutting those people or that person off was not as simple? Because let's face it, sometimes people we work with, we just can't stand them. We have to be able to work with them, collaborate with them, interact with them, speak to them when we have to do a project together, things of that nature. So think about those questions for a moment. Did you notice? Just in case you were not clear, on the questions, or you're wondering, why in the world is she asking me these questions? I am not in a counseling session. I have no idea why these questions are even relevant to this topic. Well, I'm glad you asked that, and I'm glad you were very transparent with how you felt. But I just want to share with you the first set of questions are really about friendships. Ding, ding, ding. If you noticed, in the very first set, I mentioned friendships. The second set of questions were about people envying you. Those are about the foes. So I'm going to help you connect the dots with technology. A little about how I associate information technology. I remain in control. I also know I have the power to disconnect the devices around me or reset them back to default. So when my laptop starts acting crazy, mainly because I work in IT, I can do that. But when it starts acting crazy, I reset that bad boy and yep, you're going back to default. You're going to be like a little baby all over again, like a little infant that wasn't crying and whining. You're going to know how to act just like I took you out the box. Sometimes we have to do that. We cannot reset people, unfortunately. And there are so many people that I know I would love to reset, but unfortunately, I can't do that. Because of that, we have to be able to distinguish friend or foe associations with information technology and smart devices. You need to connect the dots about relational interactions. Now, when most people look at information technology, they tend to associate the device with an emotional driven feeling or thought that brings some type of pleasure into the equation or experience, as with, like when you play a game or, you get on your phone or you take a new phone out the box and you just came from the cell phone store, what have you, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the best phone ever. And if you're anything like me, I don't even open up the instructions. I just start playing with the phone and then find out years later when I'm ready to get another phone or the phone is dead, then I'll pull out the instructions and don't even realize that some of the functionality that I wanted to find in a new phone was already in my old phone. Maybe that's just a problem that I have. But anyway, so let's get back on track. As with playing a game or on a tablet, you have to associate some type of value that item or that game or that phone or what that device is bringing to you. So we're going to look at some categorical ratings and you have to think about that. So how would you categorize playing your favorite game? How would you categorize being around a certain person? How would you categorize seeing a phone for the first time when it comes out the box? Or, I don't know, buying a new car? How would you associate it when you buy a new car and it may not be brand new. It may be new to you. Who cares? It's new. You got it from the dealership or wherever you got it from. It's new to you. No one know when you got it other than the people you tell. So what if you start playing around with some of the devices and the functionality inside your car? It's exciting to you, right? So it makes you feel like you got something, like there's a reward. You're excited about it. So it has like a categorical rating of maybe a 9 or a 10 or an 8 on how it makes you feel emotionally. Or just, when you think about, getting off of work after you've left work and you're about to go and play in your new car or drive your new car. So think about those things for a moment too. Okay, now those muscles in your brain are exercising. We're stimulating that mind of yours. Now, friendships are retained based on experiences or a memory that brings to our mental a form of peace, love, or even hope. Now, it could be that those memories or even the thoughts form because we either received or we reciprocated. So we might have given that same level of feeling or emotion to the other person, such as loving them or giving them some time, attention, and even bringing peace to their lives. But keep in mind, those are not tangible. You can't touch them. You can touch things like money or gifts, but you cannot touch love or hope or peace. Information technology, friend or foe? That is the question. Technology was created to add value and save humans time, which create convenience. Along the way, humans took the original design and reshaped and remodeled technological devices to fit a mold that was as close to a human as they could come as possible. Basically, they were trying to be something that they should not have been. In other words, they were trying to create another human out of a computer. Due to these same reasons, humans have misinterpreted the purpose of technology and rather remain and remember who we are and that we are the ones in control of our environment. We're also in control of that technology. Humans have surrendered our power to technology and technological entities that are made by man's hands. To answer the question of our podcast, you have to first know your role and authority in this life because foes often have a voice until you resist responding to their evil intentions and wicked schemes. So let's pause for a moment and jump back to the questions that I had asked you. And let's see what kind of responses you gave. When it comes to what role you play in close friendships, I would say for me, I play a very loyal friend, a person that's always there for people, um, not looking for anything in return, things of that nature. But then, how do you conclude a person can be categorized as a friend? Well, someone that's not self seeking, someone who is willing to give as well as receive, reciprocate what they give back to me, as well as what I give to them. And then, how many friendships have you retained from childhood? Honestly, the majority of my friends are from my childhood, with the exception of maybe roughly about two. But those, even the ones that I did not know during my childhood, those would be friends that I have known for over 30 years. So, whereas the ones that were childhood friends that are still living and breathing in the earth, those would be, at least roughly about 40 plus years. And then can you count them on one hand? And honestly, I can. I can count mine on one hand. And so if you think about the responses that I just gave, you think about your own and then also tie that back to computers. So are you receiving something when you're interacting and engaging with that computer or laptop or tablet, whatever it may be? Even if it's your cell phone, do you feel like you're getting an immediate need met at that moment? And then what would you say is the tie between you and that technological device? Is it because you have an immediate need and it's convenient, or what is it that gives you a peace of mind, something that you don't have to worry about? Is it that you saving time with grocery shopping, or is it that you're saving time with trying to figure out the best route to take? And you can just basically put an address into GPS and you don't have to look it up yourself. What is it about that technology or even the devices, smart devices that you're using that you would classify as meeting your immediate needs? So therefore being more like a friend. And then think about the next set of questions that I did ask, where they're basically to identify, characteristics of a foe. Foes tend to, in some type of way, come against you. So, say for instance, if you think about a computer or some type of technology, if you consider your technology a foe, it could be because maybe you experienced a virus or on your PC or your laptop or your tablet or your phone, or you were hacked in some type of way. You may feel that you were violated, whether it could have been that you thought you were sending an email to someone and it actually turned out to be a scammer. So the negative experiences would be one reason why some people will look at information technology as a foe as opposed to a friend. And then how quickly were you able to make the connection about the ill intentions? Sometimes it takes individuals a longer period of time to make that connection. So that would be one reason why they would consider information technology a foe. So thinking about even the interaction that occur like in a workplace, like the example that I gave, sometimes you cannot remove individuals from your workplace, but you collaborate, you engage and interact with those individuals, even when you know that they don't like you. So the difference between the foe in the workplace as opposed to the foe in information technology, you have more control over that foe as it is with information technology when compared to a foe in a workplace. So, for example, if you have a virus, like I had explained earlier, you can basically reset your laptop, your device. You can, set it back to default, so to speak, if it gets out of hand to the point where you're not on the hook to give anybody your information just because they asked for it. If you feel like your system has been hacked, you can basically wipe it clean and then start fresh. You can take it to a technology professional and they can do that for you. So with those in mind, just kind of, ponder on those a little deeper for your own self to understand what it means to you so that you identify with information technology in a way that makes sense to your own experiences. I hope all of the information I'm sharing is helping. Please remember to subscribe as well as provide your feedback after this particular episode so that I know whether or not I'm on point with meeting needs or if there are some additional things that need to be discovered. And we can definitely look into future episodes to go a little deeper with some of the things that are more relative to what some of you are experiencing. The information technology episodes are really a series where we will dive deeper into understanding how a non human entity can be a foe if we really allow technology to be in control. With that being said, I want you to stay tuned and join us in the next episode where we will ponder the following: information technology, mark of the beast, or have you been brainwashed to accept the evils of this world? It is in that episode where I will lay the foundation about the following episode that comes after that one, related to the truth about the mind, heart, and soul behind technology and software applications. You do not want to miss it. So again, stay tuned. You have just completed another episode. This is Dr. Holly K. Neal, the Data Boss Lady, saying goodbye. Thank you for listening and have a great weekend, day, evening, wherever you find yourself.